Trigger warning? You need a trigger warning? Oh my god, stupid entitled millennials that can't deal with anything. I hear stuff like this a lot, and I wanted to clarify this idea of trigger warnings. I'm Joe Beckwith, and I feel like there's a lot of confusion out there when it comes to this idea of triggers. In the mental health community, triggers often refer to events that activate memories associated with post-traumatic stress disorder. For people with PTSD, it is extremely common for traumatic memories to be triggered by a variety of things, be it sights, smells, locations, people. It can really be anything. When triggers happen, they bring back intense reactions because the body remembers things that sometimes even our minds don't. When these triggers happen, they have physical consequences. Raised heart rate, raised blood pressure, panic attacks, increased anxiety, hypervigilance, muscle tension, physical pain. The list goes on and on. So in a lot of groups that I am a part of online, people will put trigger warning at the top of a post that they're talking about. That lets everyone know, hey, there might be things in here that commonly set people off. That is a way of respecting other people because triggers can ruin your day. They can ruin your week. Triggers have physical consequences. For instance, if I would see a guy on the street who looked a lot like my attacker, that was a gigantic trigger for me. I would see him, which wasn't him, and I would immediately turn that stranger in my mind into this person who attacked me. I would have a panic attack. My heart rate would be going faster than I can tell you. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. I would have to make it home some way or another at that moment. It didn't matter what else I was trying to do. Go to work, go see a friend, be talking to someone. It didn't matter. I had to get out of there right now because this was a life or death situation. We could be sitting in Starbucks, having, coffee with a friend, and I see a guy walk in and all of a sudden it's like life or death, get out of there, That is not a normal reaction to have. That is one example of what being triggered feels like. So people make fun of people when they say trigger warning. Like, oh, people just can't deal with tough topics. And okay, so sometimes that might be true. But I would like to clarify the fact that that is not always the case. Trigger warnings in many situations are incredibly respectful to other survivors of trauma because you don't want to ruin their days. You don't want to send them home from work. You don't want to send them into a panic attack. You don't want to send them to the hospital because they can't breathe. We're not talking about just not having the ability to deal with a little bit of anxiety here. We're talking about serious things. And if you have not experienced what it's like living with PTSD yourself, I would A, suggest that you educate yourself because you're only going to grow from that, and B, maybe consider that you don't make derogatory comments on the fact that people are trying to respect other people's limits, other people's boundaries when it comes to trauma. When I would get triggered, I can't express to you how much it would trash an entire day, sometimes an entire couple days. And so I would so appreciate when someone would say trigger warning on something, or someone would stop talking about something. If I said, hey, I'm really having a hard time with this, I'm getting really triggery, can you back off? That's just basic common decency and respect. That's not someone being weak. To be honest, you kind of feel like a crazy person living with PTSD and living with triggers. It's not really normal to go from 0 to 60, from normal to fight or flight often. To do that either many times a day or many times a week, that's not really how bodies are meant to work. And that takes such a heavy toll mentally and physically. And so when people make comments like, oh, trigger warning, stupid millennials, whatever, it speaks to a lack of understanding. I hope to raise that understanding because it's unhelpful to say things like that, and it's also just uneducated. I'm Joe Beckwith. If you are interested in seeing more videos of this nature, if you're a survivor or a supporter or whoever you are, I would love to see you next time, either on my YouTube channel or my Facebook page. Thanks so much.